Hi there, my name is Robb Hillman. I am a registered nurse and a certified life coach, and I think today is a good day for a good day. I want to talk to you guys today about humor and how nurses tend to use humor in sometimes unconventional ways. I think we kind of have a dark streak in us. Sometimes it's that gallows humor that comes out, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit. I had someone ask me why I share so many funny memes on Facebook. Well, at least I think they're funny, because it's not really what a life coach does usually, right? Usually what we're talking about is living life to your fullest potential and figuring out how to live deliberately happy and, making the choices and making goals and doing things that make our life better. And how does that, the question that they asked me was like, how does that tie into just these little silly funny memes about doctors and patients and the weird things that nurses, have to deal with on an everyday basis? And I thought it was a really interesting question, really. And it's because I think we as nurses use humor as a tool, right? We have all of these things that we have to deal with, and we use that as a tool to kind of break the ice, break the tension, try and get out of what can be a really depressing job sometimes. And of course, as the coach and as a nurse, I am always fascinated with how our body chemistry works and how that affects our mood and what we do. And so I did, a little looking, and of course this makes sense. The thing about laughter, about humor, is that when you laugh, it actually increases the blood flow, or I'm sorry, the oxygen intake that you get up to your brain. So like when you're really tense and then you get to laugh at something, it's giving oxygen to your brain, which of course is going to be a good thing. One of the other things, and this is something I've talked a lot about, is the sympathetic nervous system. And when we get stressed, it activates that sympathetic nervous system, which is great if you're worried that there's a bear going to jump out of the bushes at you. But it is not so great when we are getting chronically stressed out, and it releases epinephrine and cortisol into our bloodstream, which over time leads to weight gain and heart disease and diabetes and all sorts of poor health outcomes. So reducing those is a great thing. And laughter, it turns out, does decrease epinephrine and cortisol in our blood. So when we're all stressed out and someone cracks some terrible, bad, inappropriate joke and we laugh at it, it breaks that cycle of the sympathetic nervous system, and it's really healthy for us. Our bodies know that it's healthy, right? We crave that. And so that's kind of the advantage, I think, when you're a nurse and just around all this stress, all of these bad things and death and sickness. We need that humor to help us not only survive, but to thrive, to feel good, to be healthy, right? So that's kind of why I do it. That's why I spend a lot of time making these dumb little memes. And some of them I know are really dumb and funny and just silly and whatever, not really necessarily tie into my overall message as a coach, but I still think it's really important, and I'm going to still make them because, I enjoy it. I think it's funny because I like that. I like funny. And that's kind of why I do it. So I think it's something that's good for us. And sometimes we do make those jokes that you say and you're like, I think this will be funny, and then you say it out loud and you're like, that was not funny. This is a random story, but I was living in New York during 9/11, and this probably was January or February. After that happened, I went and saw Joan Rivers do a set. And it was this great little venue, and there was, not a whole lot of people there. And it's, Joan Rivers. And she did an entire set of 9/11 jokes. And oh my gosh, it was so interesting because, especially living in New York at that time, like that wound was fresh. It was not something people were ready to joke about. And she was fearless. She just went out there and started laying down all these jokes. In the audience, we were just like, I don't know how to respond to this. And we'd get these like uncomfortable giggles here and there, and for the most part, it was terrible. Like, she did not get a very good response, and I think she knew that, right? That was her shtick, because that's the thing. She made the choice. I know this is going to be pushing boundaries, but that's who I am as a comedian, and that's what I'm going to do. And so even though like that part of her whole show didn't really go over well, like I had to appreciate that that's what she was about. That's what she was doing, right? Because some of you I know are thinking, like, if you pay attention, I did a video a while ago about using shame as humor, and how I was, saying that's probably not something that I want to do. I don't like shaming other people and making fun of other people as a way to make myself laugh and feel better. Just not the person that I want to be, which some of you might be thinking, well, that's kind of at odds with this video where you're saying it's okay to, make inappropriate jokes. And that's just up to each of us. We have to kind of make that decision for ourselves about who we are and who we want to be and where we draw those lines. Joan Rivers, man, her line was way out there compared to me. But I think for her, it was still, that was, her job. That's what she was trying to do. For me, I definitely want to do jokes that are not demeaning to other people, that don't, try and make me get a little joke at the expense of someone else. But I do think that inappropriate humor and that kind of dark side can also be really helpful. So it's definitely a fine line. You're going to have to figure out where that line is for yourself. And as always, I say be deliberate. Make that choice about where you want that line to be, about what's too far for you and what's right up to the edge and still really funny. And that's going to make all the difference. It's just you being aware of the choice that you're making. Okay, kind of a rambly video, I think, but I think it's a great, like I said, it was a question I got asked, and I thought it was an interesting question. So I'm going to keep making the memes. I hope you guys like them, because I just think funny is always going to be the right answer. So I hope you guys have a great week. Think about this a little bit and just kind of be aware. Where do you draw that line about what's funny and what's offensive and what is inappropriate, for you, and just be deliberate about that. All right. I hope you guys are doing well. I will talk to you next time.